Okay, we are live right now. I'm gonna put a little, maybe I'll put a little countdown timer on here. See about
Okay, is that a
change.
little bit better?
Yeah, that sounds a little bit better. Let's see.
Hold on, because I can't hear anything.
You can't hear anything? That could be a problem, huh? Goodness gracious. Okay, I'm gonna mess around with my technology here a little bit, see if I can change my timer. How about we put that in for...
Oh, there.
Huh?
Sorry, I got it figured out.
Did you? Boom. Boom. We're rolling. Are you excited about this morning's topic?
I am excited about this morning's topic.
Hey, why don't you go onto Facebook and see what you can see. See if you can see the Zoom screen or if you only see me. I think all you're going to see is me, which might not be the best option to see. Ooh.
All I see is you.
And if you look at the countdown timer on Zoom, it's backwards. You notice that?
It's right on Facebook.
It is right on Facebook?
Yeah.
So all you can see on Facebook is me?
Yes. You're the star of the show again.
Star of the show.
You're in your favorite place.
Okay. I'm going to attempt to change that. And we'll see if I have any idea what I'm doing. Oh, that should have changed it.
Oh, there.
Kaboom,
I can see you
kaboom,
and me both.
Kaboom, kaboom, kaboom. Very, very good. See, I'm figuring out this stuff one step at a time. You don't do the technology all the time. But hey, our word for today, commit. Committed to learning all this technology. That's what it boils down to. Committed to making it work. We got people jumping on Facebook already. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you for being a part of this with us. Now I got to go in and take the timer off, which, hey, here, once again, got to remember how to do it. Good morning, everyone. Rebecca, launch us off. What are we going to be talking about today?
Today we are talking about commit. Last week we talked about awareness, and these are part of the series that we're doing about the 6 steps of personal development. So last week was awareness, becoming aware of the things that you want to change, the things that you want to grow, being aware of the things that you want to do. So this week it is commit. And those things that need to change and those things that need to grow, how committed are you to them?
Well, that's important. Commitment is a major, major challenge. Hey, Rebecca, one of the things that we'll look at this morning, I think I'm going to watch our live stream into Facebook. I'm going to watch that pretty close. Can you watch our Zoom and see if anybody jumps in? I think you should be able to...
You don't have me made as co-host.
You're not the co-host. Well, we'll have to change that then, won't we? We will make Rebecca the co-host. And Rebecca will be able to... We should just make you the host. That's what we should do. You should just be the host.
So, back to what we were talking about. Commit.
Absolutely.
You know, it's very easy to say that you want to do something, and the actions to take to get there is the hard part. So I think when you commit to something, no matter what it is, taking that step, and because if you don't do it, you're only hurting yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you may have told other people and they may know that maybe you didn't commit through, but ultimately, if you don't follow through and don't make that commitment, you're ultimately only hurting yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right, and that's something that we oftentimes forget in the process of personal development. We first of all have to ask, why do personal development? You know, if we've gone to college, we've gone to school, we've got our education, we've got all this, is it really that necessary to be involved in personal development? And it's an interesting question that I personally asked a long time ago, because it does require this thing that we're going to talk about today, commitment. And it was a question that I had to personally answer. But it was actually John Maxwell, who's a mentor for Rebecca and I. If you guys don't know John Maxwell, highly recommend that you follow him, get connected with John Maxwell in some way, shape, or form. But it was actually John Maxwell who made the statement that if you do not do something today to make yourself better than you were yesterday, then what makes you think today's going to be better than yesterday? If you're not going to commit to doing something today to make it better than yesterday, you have no guarantee. There's no guarantee that it's going to be better. And that's part of what we have to look at. If we want tomorrow to be better than today, then we have to commit to something today to improve on. We have to commit to something. And that's part of this personal growth process. Last week we talked about awareness. It's making ourselves aware of what we're going to commit to. This week we talk about commitment. What does that really mean? What does it mean to make a commitment to ourselves? Not just to our customers, but to ourselves. What does it mean to make a commitment to ourselves? So Rebecca, we'll start with you. What does it mean for you to make a commitment to yourself?
You know, you talk about making a commitment to yourself over your customers, and for me personally, if I make a commitment to a customer, I'm more apt to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I make a commitment to myself and I don't do it, I'm just like, oh well, it's no big deal. Nobody else is getting hurt. Nobody else is missing out. It's just me. So not putting myself as top person for me, it's difficult. I mean, it's difficult.
But is that true, that nobody else is getting hurt? Nobody else is affected?
In the grand scheme of things, yes, because, you know,
it is
like
true.
You always talk. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, other people are getting affected, but you tell yourself they're not.
Give us an example.
But in the long run,
give us an example.
Okay, so my personal development. If I'm not growing myself,
Mm-hmm.
then it is affecting you, it's affecting our business, it's affecting our customers.
Mm-hmm.
But when I tell myself that, I don't really need to get up and read this morning, I'm okay. I think it's just affecting me, but in the big scheme of things, it is affecting all aspects of what I do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One of the things that you and I are working on together right now is personal mindset. And as we work through personal mindset challenges together, what's something that you are committed to yourself? You know, this call every week, we want to be transparent with our audience. We want to be transparent with everybody that watches. So let's be transparent. You're committing to mindset training. Why is that so important to you, Rebecca?
Because my mindset is a mess. and changing that mindset to get to where I want to be someday, I have to make that commitment to do it, or it's never going to happen.
You know, it's interesting about this thing called mindset. We all have a set mind. Everyone has a set mind in some fashion, in some way. One of the ways that we get caught up in our mindset might be in politics or religion or in how we see leadership or how we see business, this and that and the other. One of the things that I'm working through as I look at this thing of mindset with you is to be able to improve mindset for the purpose of improving relationships with customers and clients and new potential customers and clients. I want to be able to improve my mindset. Now, what does that mean? It means that I look at the whole of a person. It means that I look at what is good for people, and I look at what is good for people no matter where they are. You know, think about the things that are good for people in general. Everybody wants joy. Everybody wants peace. Everybody wants love. Everybody wants to see those things, experience those things, to feel those things. Everyone wants those things in their life. Yet, am I the individual who's capable of giving love? Am I capable of giving someone the respect that they're due? Do I even realize when I'm being disrespectful? Do I even recognize it? And what I'm talking about here in terms of mindset is I want to be intentional. I want to be intentional in how I'm opening up my mindset to be more loving, to be more respectful, to be more diligent in seeing and making other people's lives better, and do that on a bigger scale. That is a mindset for me, because if I'm not careful, I'll get caught up in my current way of thinking. I'll set my mind to that way of thinking. And then next thing you know, I'll look at everybody else as though everyone else is a problem or the cause of a problem and not me. Right? And it's real easy for me to start, becoming stagnant in certain ways of thinking, and then I become the problem. And that's something that I'm very much aware of. I'm very, very open to being able to change my mindset and be willing to see the world from another perspective. That's been huge for me. That's been really big for me. And I think it's really big for anybody. That's something I'm working on personally, Rebecca.
And I agree with that wholeheartedly. We get so set in our ways sometimes, and it's not even that somebody disagrees with you, but they have a different point of view. And as you and I know, we work through that a lot. I think the hardest thing for me when we discuss those things is knowing or finally realizing that maybe that my way of thinking has wrong. I mean, I don't want to say wrong. It's just been different, and trying to look at the other point of view and the other perspective on things. That is what I'm learning. I mean, that is, at my age, I should be through that. But it's not something I've ever really focused on until the last few years. And so taking the previous 49 years of my mental thinking and knowing that there could possibly, that could possibly be a different solution. There could possibly be a different way. That's been difficult because it's almost taking everything that you have believed in for the last 49 years and making it different, adjusting it. And it's not to say that it's wrong. It just, maybe it needs a little adjustment.
So just imagine now, Rebecca, if you were not committed. Going back to our word for today, we both talked a little bit about the mindset development, personal development around mindset that you and I are both working on. But what if we're not committed? How important is that commitment to, and this is what makes it really hard for people in personal development, it's a commitment to change. You are committed to change. Growth will always require change. Don't ever try to look at it any other way. Growth always requires change. Those of us in agriculture, we understand that. I mean, look at the change of a seed that goes in the ground in the spring to the harvest that we reap in the fall. Think about all the change that happens in that period of time, right? And that seed is committed to one thing, growing a plant that reproduces. It's committed to that one thing. And yet it goes through a process of change. That's just a very simple example. The human being is no different either. You know, we start out our lives as a seed, and we're born into the world. We come into the world, and then we grow through the environment that our parents put us in. We grow through this process of education, but we're in a constant state of change. But if we're committed to making that change better, we have control over this. Being committed to making that change improvement is critical. What are your thoughts on that, Rebecca?
You know, so one thing I'm sitting here thinking about is, you know, to change is hard.
It is.
But I think to live where you're at sometimes is hard. And it goes back, you know, we talked about that little poem thing a couple weeks ago that says, you know, losing weight or being healthy is hard, but being overweight is hard. Choose your hard. And I think that's where, you know, being successful is hard. You work your butt off, and it's hard work. But I'll take my example, sitting in a dark house doing absolutely nothing, curled up on the couch, is hard. So choose your hard. I mean, either way. And I think commitment, it's kind of funny that we're about commitment, because I think you're committed to one way or another. You just have to choose what you're committed to. Which do you want more? What is it that you want more? I sit here and I tell myself I want to get healthy because I want to be healthy for our grandkids. And then I look at that piece of cheesecake that's sitting over there, and, you know, that's not to say that you can't ever have that, but too much of one thing is not a good thing. So it's just choosing what you're committed to, and both of them are hard. You just have to decide what you want more. That's right.
That's right. Because regardless, your life is going to change. Regardless.
Right.
A lot of it comes down to how much control do you want to have in the change. Right? Think about it from that perspective. How much do you want to participate in the change process? You know, one of the things that we cannot change is time. Yesterday died at midnight. It's never coming back. It will always be that way. Tonight at midnight, this day will be put to rest forever. And what we do with this day is all that really matters, right? What we do today with the time, with the moment, with the present, what we do with this is all that really matters. And that's why I believe Rebecca, commitment is so critical. Commitment to what we are about to do. Steve Jobs he's fairly famous in the personal development space for making the quote that is the thing that you're about to do today. If it was your last day on earth, would you do that thing anyway? Think about it. If you knew that today was your last day, the thing that you are about to do today, would you do it anyway? And what he's really getting at is, are you doing the most important thing for you, for your family, for those around you, for those customers, for those people in your life? Are you committed that doing this thing today is the right thing to do? And even that requires a mindset. It requires a change in our thinking. It's a different thinking for the way that we view our life, right? We've been talking quite a bit about this. Did I lose you, Rebecca?
Nope. I'm here.
We've been talking quite a bit about this. I think we have a couple of people on Zoom. Somebody want to jump in and give us some feedback on this? What are your thoughts?
I do have to say, I want to talk about commitment because David Sloan is on here this morning, and I think he had a very, very long day yesterday. And just curious if he's still awake or has been able to.
I'm awake, but my body clock's 6 hours ahead, so getting up this morning was easier than it's ever been. I'm not a 6 a.m. Monday morning person, but that's like midday, so
not a problem today.
Yeah, that is commitment.
So yeah, I'll be tired tonight, but anyway, here I am. I was interested. It was interesting, Rebecca, hearing what you had to say about if you give a commitment to somebody else, you're more likely to carry it out than yourself. And I'm very much the same way. It's more of that service mentality. And if you let yourself down, I can live with that. But if you let somebody else down, much harder. And so I can really identify with what you had to say.
Why do you think that is, David? What is ingrained in our culture and our society to do that?
It's easy to short yourself. It's I guess it's easy. Some people probably find it easier than others to not live up to their commitments to other people, but that's something that I always try and honor. It's much easier for me to actually commit to something for someone to get it done rather than commit it to myself to get it done, because I'm really good at just sort of thinking, well, this is always tomorrow. But that's why it's I work better on deadlines than trying to do a little bit of a big project every day. It's that self-discipline thing. If it's deadline, then you're forced to get it done. So that commitment to other people is kind of like that deadline. You said you'd do it, so it's maybe it's about how you want others to perceive you. That they don't want them to think of you as a lesser person, so you're more likely to go out of your way. Then maybe you've got that control over how you see yourself, so it's much easier to I don't know what the right word would be, but to give a little on that, to lower your own standards for yourself as opposed to somebody else. That's why but
yeah, I think one thing, and this is something, Kylan, you and I, especially me, is working on in our personal relationship, is me working on myself, because I've never thought of putting myself first in the sense of I have to be a great me for us to be a great us, and that comes with other people too. I've always wanted to make other people great, build other people up, encourage other people. I think about our daughter and our granddaughter, and the things that we tell them, that you can do anything, you're beautiful, love yourself and all this, but then to turn around and do that for myself is really, really hard. Yeah. Because I've never, in our 30 years of marriage and my 52 years of life, it's hard for me to think that I need to be good to myself to make other people good. But, in scripture, it says to love others, but we don't finish the last part of it, as you love yourself. And I think that, when you make a commitment to somebody else, like David said, you either you want them to see you a certain way, but you're helping somebody else, you're adding value to somebody else. And then if you don't do that to yourself, you kind of, well, it's just me, I'm not worried about it. But that's not true. Because the more that you do that, the less value that you're adding to you.
Mm-hmm. And if you want to give more value, Rebecca, you have to have value to give value, right? You have to. The more you develop yourself, the more you can give of yourself, right? Yeah, that's the really the biggest reason why you'd want to be focused in on personal growth and development.
Well, and especially when it comes to yourself, and I know I talk about the health journey because that's something that I'm really dealing with right now. And it's just, if I go out and work out with weights, like after about rep 5, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm spent. I can't do this anymore, And then I tell myself the next day, oh, your arms are sore. Let them heal before you go do it again. And it's not true. You have to push yourself through that. And that's the same way with anything that you commit to. You absolutely have to push yourself through the hard parts, because it is going to be hard. Mm-hmm. And at that hard point, you have to ask yourself, am I committed to this, or am I going to give up? Because then when you start over again, it's going to be that much harder. And so I think that's a big, on anything that you do. Yep. You have to push yourself through the hard parts.
Yeah, that's right. And physical development is a big part of personal development. The way that you treat yourself at a physical level is huge. It's going to impact how you even think. Your thinking capacity is impacted by how well you keep yourself healthy. And that's a struggle for me. As you well know, there's nothing better than a creme brulee and a cheesecake and all the other fixings that they had at that dinner yesterday, right? Those are the easy things for me to give into. But it is hard. It's hard to make that choice to, have one piece instead of 3, and things like that. It's real easy to make bad choices. It's really hard sometimes to make really good choices. However, one of the things that I've noticed in personal development, and I'd love to hear some others' feedback on this too, I've noticed that as I commit to improving myself, it does get easier with time to make the right choices. Have you guys noticed that?
I think the choices that stick are the choices where you change your lifestyle. It's not having to choose this or that. It's just making it part of the lifestyle.
That's right.
So you choose to change your lifestyle. And so that might be something as simple as, I don't know, like a long time ago, I used to always have milk or cream in my coffee. And I thought, it's just extra calories. And I learned to drink it black. And it was a change. I mean, it sounds like a small thing, but somebody said to me, probably 20 years ago, hey, if you want to just pick a few calories, do that. And so I did it. And I never looked back. There's a lot of other benefits anyway. But just being the exercise, rather than having to choose to exercise, you make it part of your lifestyle, like it's an incidental thing. Now, a lot of people in the Midwest, can't really do it. But when I used to live in Adelaide, Australia, I chose to ride my bike to work. And just that simple change, I got really fit, and it didn't feel like I was working out. All I was doing was going to work. But I changed my lifestyle, and it had massive benefits. And so,
Well, isn't part of that in riding your bike in Australia, running from those great big creatures and things that you have all over? Because
well, not
that's...
quite, but the city that I lived in, it was better. It was nicer riding my bike because there were bike trails and things. It was just a nicer, better way to get to work. And it was just a simple change. But I never felt like I was working out, but I got the benefits from it. And so all I'm trying to say is that what's worked for me was just changing the lifestyle, not choosing to do something each and every time. Because unlike you, Rebecca, if I have to go and work out, go to the gym, it hasn't happened. So now I need to sort of think about, how do I work that in? I mean, as you know, I just had a vacation, but just the incidental exercise of walking around London, 20,000 steps a day, easy, just easy. And so it was choosing to do that rather than catch the bus or get on the tube and you see more. So I don't know how you work that into other parts of your life, but I can't make myself go and work out, but I can choose to change the way I do things, to walk somewhere. I have those simple things, like they say, take the stairs and not the elevator. Park the farthest end of the parking lot and walk to when you go to the store. Things like that. Anyway.
Well, and I think that's, when we make a commitment to do something, sometimes we make it harder than it actually is. And just like with the health thing, I get so worked up and anxious thinking about, oh my gosh, there's sugar in that. Oh my gosh, look at the calories in that. And I think about the whole elephant instead of those little steps. Same thing with my personal development. I just get so, I've got to do it now and I've got to do it. And I think we make it harder than it is if you just start taking those smaller steps. It's funny sometimes when we walk in the morning, and in this town is just so many hills. And some of them are quite large. So when we walk up the hill, I will look at my feet instead of looking at the top of the hill. Because if I look at my feet, it doesn't seem like it's as bad. But if I look at the top of the hill where I have to go, it's like, look how far that is. Look how far I have to get up there. And I think that's one of the things with anything that we commit to is telling ourselves, quit trying to get the whole big picture right now and work towards it.
I find myself, if I want to make a change, I have to schedule it and do it on purpose, just the exact same way I schedule appointments with clients or a specific work task. I schedule it in my phone, and I say, okay, this will be a good time to do this every day. And it could be either early in the day or late in the day, but if I schedule it, I'm more likely to do it. And then there's research out. They say it takes 8 weeks to start a new habit. And so if you can get through those 8 weeks, it becomes easier.
That's a good point, Randy, because the most important appointment that you have on your calendar is the appointment you make to yourself. It really is. And in fact, some people will say, who's filling your calendar? Are you in control of it? Are your customers in control of it? Who's in control of your calendar? And that's a really good point. Making a commitment to ourselves means scheduling ourselves into our daily life. Very good point. All right, Rebecca, we're at the top of the hour, which means it's to be respectful of everybody's time. They do have to go to work. We have to go to work. But Rebecca, give us a little insight into what's coming next. What's our topic next week? Get people excited about being here.
Next week, we are going to talk about the learn. So we talked about awareness last week, commit this week, and next week will be learn. And
Very, very good. Very good. Brittany, you have something to say? Just saw something pop up.
yeah, she did. She says, with food, change your wording to change your mindset. Instead of, OMG, there's so much sugar in this meal, say, this is a well-rounded meal that will nourish and fuel my body and mind for the rest of the day. Change your wording and the vibe of that wording. Instead of, I have to work out, say, I get to work out to strengthen my mind and body. Very good advice, Britt.
The reality
My
is,
problem is I'd probably my piece of cake going, there is milk in there. It's healthy for me. So I'll change my wording. No, just kidding.
the reality is what Brittany said there is right in every aspect.
Yeah.
Not just with your food, but in every aspect of life. That is absolutely right. And the way you speak to yourself matters. The things you say to yourself matter.
So much of what we've been talking about, and we talked about this yesterday, a lot of our books, looking at a lot of our books on our shelves about different things, it really does come back to mindset. I mean, that's where it starts.
Yep.
And it's the action you take after that.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
So.
All right. So step 3 of personal development process next week is learn. Jump in, be a part of this next week. Get your audience, get your team members, join us on Facebook, join us on Zoom. It doesn't matter where you connect, but connect with us next week because we all understand learning. We live in an environment where learning is pushed. It's encouraged. And we encourage that in your personal growth and development. So let's talk a little bit about learning next week and what that really means to your process of improvement. Okay, any final thoughts, Rebecca?
Nope. Everybody commit to having a great day today. Start there.
All right. God bless everybody. Make it an amazing week.